Welcome back. Let's know more about chemical bonding. What is VSEPR theory? VSEPR, it stands for valence shell electron repulsion theory. The shape of the molecule is determined by repulsion between all of the electron pairs present in the valence shell. I repeat, this theory is useful to determine the shape of a given molecule by the repulsion between all of the electron pairs present in the valence shell. How is the order of repulsion follows? That is, lone pair repulsion is greater than lone pair repulsion, which is again greater than bond pair repulsion. I repeat, the order of the repulsion follows as lone pair repulsion is greater than lone bond pair, which is again greater than bond pair. Repulsion among the bond pair is directly proportional to the bond order and electronegativity differences between the central atom and the other atom. How the repulsion is being taken care of or is measured, it is directly proportional to the bond order and the electronegativity differences between the central atom and the other atoms. Now, what is bond order? Bond order determines the number of bonds present between the two atoms. For example, single covalent bond, double covalent bond, or triple covalent bond. Next, here comes a table which will help you to determine the shape of the molecule with respect to the VSEPR theory. That is, for example, HgCl2 and BeCl2, they have linear shape. VF3 is triangular planar, whereas NF3, NH3, NF3, PCl3, they all are trigonal pyramidal. Right, here they have an effect of the lone pair repulsion. We have learnt about, right, lone pair repulsion, lone pair repulsion, and bond pair repulsion. So in B, when it is in central atom, it do not have any lone pair, whereas in ammonia, it do have a lone pair of electron. So you need to go through this table carefully and you need to remember the shape of the individual molecules. Here comes how this table will give you more detail about the lone pair and bond pair, right? So bonding pairs means the electron that are participating in bonding. Now here beryllium, how come the valence electron is 2? Beryllium atomic number is 4. Now, if the atomic number is 4, that means it has electronic configuration 2, 2. So, 2 electrons are there at the outermost shell. Hence, 2 electrons are there for bonding. So, 2 bonding pairs and lone pair, it do not have any lone pair because beryllium is getting bonded with 2 chlorine atoms. So, 1 is utilized by each chlorine atom. I suppose this is clear to you, right? And it possesses a linear structure and the angle between them is 180 degree. The angle between the bonding pair is 180 degree. Similarly, when we are talking about BCl3, right, BCl3 boron, that means atomic number is 5, so electron configuration is 2, 3. Here as well 3 valence electron and all these 3 electrons are participating in bond formation. So again we don't have any lone pair of electrons and it forms a trigonal planar. The bond angle between the bonding pair is 120 degree. You can see this angle is formed Cl, B, Cl. Again Cl, B, Cl. Right, Cl, B, Cl. All these angles are 120 degree. This is the way how the angle is formed. Okay. these all angles are 120 degree. I hope it is understood. It is clear to you. Okay, then about methane. So methane, C is the central atom. Atomic number of carbon is 6. Therefore, its electronic configuration is 2, 4. That means it has 4 electrons in its outermost shell. And again, all these 4 electrons are participating in the bond formation with the hydrogen atom. Right. So, it has a tetrahedral shape and its bond angle is 109.5 degree. Now you will get to know the difference between the lone pair and the bond pair, and if there is a lone pair, then what will be the difference? Now NH3, right? Just looking to the formula BCl3 and NH3, right? What we will feel? We will feel that they should have a similar structure. But as you are seeing, they don't have the similar shape. Their shape varies. Even you can check their bond angle varies. That is, their bond angle also decreased. Their bond angle is also decreased. Now, in ammonia, that is nitrogen is the central atom. So atomic number is 7. Therefore, its electronic configuration will be 2, 5. Hence, nitrogen has 5 electrons in its outermost shell for bonding. But as you can see, it has combined, it has bonded with only 3 hydrogen atoms. So it is remaining with two electrons, right? 2 non-bonding electrons, where we can say a lone pair, right? 2 non-bonding electrons. 2 electrons becomes a pair. So it has one lone pair of electron. Now, one lone pair of electron, lone pair and bond pair repulsion takes place. Okay, and bond pair as well repulsion takes place. Hence, they generate a trigonal pyramidal structure. Right? And the bond angle decreases. Instead of 120 degree, it turned into 107 degree as the bond angle decreases due to the repulsion between the lone pair and the bond pair electrons. Then water molecule, it has a bent shape. You can see 2 non-bonding electron pairs. That means totally 4 electrons of oxygen atom are not participating in the bond formation. Hence, its bond angle is 105 degree. Right, as you can see, more number of lone pair of electrons are increasing on the central atom. The bond angle decreases. I repeat, the bond angle decreases. Next, Fazan's rule. Fazan's rule tried to explain that because we have already learned that covalent bond is seen between a non-metal and a non-metal. But Fazan's rule explains that a covalent bond can also be seen between a metal and a non-metal. Now, metal of which type? Because we have learned that ionic bond is seen between a metal and a non-metal. So, how is it possible that covalent bond should be also seen in metal and a non-metal? So, here it comes. It explains that covalency is favored. Right, it accounts for the covalent character in ionic compounds by the smaller cation. If a chemical bond is formed between a smaller cation and a larger anion, then that type of chemical bond, instead of being an ionic bond, it will be a covalent bond, because cations with smaller size, they do not tend to transfer their electron, to lose their electron, because as their atomic size is less, the nucleus attraction, force of attraction to the valence shell electron is more. So it becomes very difficult for those kind of element or atoms to share their to transfer their electron, that means to lose their electrons. So a covalent character gradually increases between a smaller cation and larger anion and larger charge on either ion. If the charge increases, right? Can you see this? If when we are talking about the charge, that is +1 charge, +2 and +3. So these are the cases of cations, that is right. Na is sodium ion of group 1 element, this is group 2 element and this is group 3 element. So the cation charges increases, covalent character also increases. Moving from top to bottom, right? The ionic size increases. Anion, these are anions having the negative charge means anions. So ionic charge ionic size increases. Covalent character also increases. Hence here it will be more clear. You can see as the charges are increased, right? It is more towards the formation of covalent character. Even the ionic size increases. Here you can see the anionic larger anions, right? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine. Again, more of covalent character. So this was given by Fazan. Now what is his full name? That is his Kazimierz Fazan in 1923 formulated that Fazan's rule can be used to predict whether a chemical bond is expected to be predominantly ionic or covalent. And it also depends on the relative charges and sizes of the cation and anion. This results in a distortion, deformation, or polarization of the anion. Next comes dipole moment. The bond dipole moment uses the idea of electric dipole moment, which measures the polarity, of a chemical bond within a molecule. It occurs whenever there is a separation of positive and negative charges. It is denoted by mu. Dipole moment is measured in d by unit, which is denoted as capital D. Dipole moment is equals to charge into distance of separation. Right. Specifically, it can also be denoted as mu is equals to delta into D. The bond dipole moment that arises in a chemical bond between two atoms of different electronegativities is expressed as mu into delta into D, where mu is the bond dipole moment, delta is the magnitude of, that is, partial positive charge and negative charge, and D is the distance between the partial positive and negative charge. Dipole moment of a molecule is a vector addition of all the individual bond moments. So how can we learn dipole moment or calculate dipole moment? So that is, we have formula mu is equals to under root of n into n plus 2. With this you will learn in detail in your grade 12 chemistry. Just right now you need to focus which molecule has higher dipole moment or less dipole moment. So that we will be taking into consideration. Here comes an example with BF2, right? Be beryllium fluoride, right? They possess the linear shape, and as you can see, that two fluorine atoms are in the opposite direction. Hence, the dipole moment gets cancelled off. This is the simple example as you, right? If you can recall the Shiv Mahapuran and जब अमृत निकाला जा रहा था, right? सो एक तरफ देवता लोग थे और एक तरफ दानव, एंड आपस में एक दूसरे को खींच रहे थे. ओके, सो इफ दे हैव सेम फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन टुवर्ड्स द एंड, देन द force gets cancelled off. Its resultant force becomes 0. Similarly, here as well, beryllium is a central atom and fluorine, on both the sides, they are attracting same amount of electrons. Hence, the dipole moment becomes 0. Next, in dipole moment of water molecules, here it's not like that, right? Uh, Here oxygen do have a non-bonded electron pair, whereas in BF2, beryllium was not having any lone pair of electrons. But here oxygen has lone pair of electrons, hence they do not have linear shape, they have a bent shape. Hence, the individual bond moment of an oxygen-hydrogen bond is calculated as 1.5 dBi, whereas the net dipole moment in a water molecule is found to be 1.84 dBi. As the dipole moment interaction is not at all in opposite direction and it do not get cancelled off. Now, the important one, that is the dipole moment of ammonia and NF3, that is nitrogen fluoride. Okay, now in nitrogen fluoride, what happens? By looking into it, we can check nitrogen is a central atom. Hydrogen atom attached to it is having are the electropositive in nature, whereas fluorine is electronegative in nature. So what happens in case of ammonia? Nitrogen is having one lone pair of electron, right, which is not participating in bond formation, and rest all is participated in bond formation. So nitrogen, this hydrogen is attracted towards the nitrogen. So you can see the upward arrow, right? Hence, its dipole moment results into 1.46 dBi. Whereas in this case, you can see it is in the opposite direction. The dipole moment of nitrogen is upward, whereas the dipole moment of fluorine is downwards. So there are more chances of getting cancelling each other. The dipole moment gives more chances to get cancelled. Right. So what happens? The resultant dipole moment decreases. Right, the resultant dipole moment decreases. As it is a vector quantity, we know the vector quantity means the quantity that depends upon the magnitude as well as direction. So the direction also matters while measuring dipole moment. Now comes hydrogen bonding. What is actually a hydrogen bond? Hydrogen bond is an electrostatic attractive force between the covalently bonded hydrogen atom of one molecule. Please kindly note down this thing, that is the attraction between one molecule or a part of a molecule and electronegative atom of another molecule. So this is what we obtain intermolecular hydrogen bond, right? Or else another part of the same molecule. So we will be able to obtain intramolecule. First intermolecule, second intramolecule. Now intermolecular hydrogen bonding increases the boiling point of a compound and as well as its water solubility. Whereas inframolecular hydrogen bonding decreases the boiling point of the compound and also its water solubility. Now, for example, here is a water molecule. Here, this is the one water molecule. Here is the second water molecule. Now, first water molecule, hydrogen, they are electropositive. Oxygen is electronegative. So, this oxygen electronegative atom of one molecule, of one water molecule is attracting the electropositive atom of other water molecule towards itself, and this is known as intermolecular hydrogen bond, which is represented by dotted line. I repeat, the hydrogen bond is represented by dotted line. So here comes the example of intermolecular hydrogen bond, and you can see this is the intramolecular. Intramolecular matlab within the molecule, right? Orthonitrophenol. So what is the structure of Orthonitrophenol is, that is, this is our benzene ring. I know I couldn't draw it very nicely, but still I'm trying. This is your benzene. Now this is a nitro group on the benzene ring. So it is known as nitrobenzene. Ortho, that means the second position. Orthonitrophenol, that is, it is having a phenolic group, right? Phenol group is there, and then they are forming a intermolecular hydrogen bond between this oxygen atom and this hydrogen atom. So this is known as intramolecular. Matlab within the molecule, the hydrogen bond is formed. It is known as intramolecular. I hope this is clear to you. That is intra and inter. Now, if you see that intramolecular, so it is disturbing the shape of a molecule. Hence, its boiling point decreases and solubility also decreases. So, thank you. Have a nice day. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. Stay tuned.